friends, this is CA Shilpa Shinagare here, President V Indus Societies Welfare Association, that is Viswa. Thanks for watching all my YouTube videos and visiting my blog, that is CA Shilpa Shinagare Real Cooperative Info blog, and putting your queries and comments there. I'm really enjoying handling your queries. We have created a new email ID specifically to deal with your queries, and that is chsmatter for cashilpa@gmail.com. It is chsmatter, 4 is a number, for cashilpa@gmail.com. So you can put your queries there. Be specific while writing your queries and kindly give a subject line for your query so that we can respond to your query very well. Today's video is another educational video from my end, that is on conveyance or deemed conveyance. I already have one video on deemed conveyance, so wherein I have mentioned what is the process or how the deemed conveyance is being done. Step by step approach we have given there, so you can watch that video also along with this video. Now in this video we'll try to update you or guide you why we should go for the conveyance or deemed conveyance. As you know, conveyance or deemed conveyance is the agenda in almost all the housing societies AGM notice. So in my opinion, or it's my experience, that conveyance or deemed conveyance is being dealt with by the housing societies AGM to AGM. Why they take it in AGM? Because there is audit qualification in the audit report. It says conveyance is not being done, or it is the conveyance process is not yet initiated, and then they will discuss it in the AGM. It would be discussed in the AGM, nothing will happen, and again in the next AGM the same agenda will come. So today I will just try to update you on few pointers, or we have already posted a WhatsApp message and the Google updates through Google Update. What is the need to go for the conveyance and deemed conveyance? So let me be very specific. Now if you see your model bylaw, each housing society is guided by your adopted or the registered bylaws. So if you see your registered bylaw, clause 5 of your model bylaw, it talks about the object for which the housing society is being formed. An object to form the society itself is to get the conveyance from the landowner or the builder. So that means ideally my society is being formed to get the conveyance, but I am not running or I am not functioning for the object for which I am registered, and that is why in each and every audit report your auditor points out this as a disqualification, or they pass a remark because it's a serious irregularity actually if you see. Secondly, if what is conveyance and deemed conveyance? Basically it is like transferring right, title and interest in the property to a person to whom you have sold that property, or who has taken the interest in the property subsequently. So as a purchaser of the house or a flat in a housing society, I have an agreement for sale with me. It's not a sale deed, it is agreement for sale with me, but I'm just a owner or occupier. I'm just an occupier rather, and the conveyance would be given by the owner and the developer. It would be in the name of the housing society. So what are the benefits that I derive if I'm having an agreement for sale for myself? Is I can go for the interior, I can go for the renovation of my house. I can give it on a gift, or I can mortgage the flat, I can gift it to someone. So all the rights I derive as a member or as a owner of that flat is when I have this agreement for sale. So same thing, the builder or the landowner, they have to convey this land and building in the name of the society, because that is a provision in the MOFA. MOFA Act 1963 has a specific provision that this right, title and interest in the property needs to be transferred from the owner and the developer to the housing society. This is not happening. So that is why in 2008 the provision of deemed conveyance is being introduced, where it is said that if within 4 months, once the flats, 60% of the flats, now it is 51%. So if 60% of the flats are sold, if the developer is not forming the society, then you can go for the non-cooperation. And once the society is being formed, let's say it's formed under cooperation, next 4 months the developer and the landowner, of course, they have to convey the land and building in the name of the housing society or the legal entity that is coming into picture. If this is not happening, then the concept of deemed conveyance, that is, it's a deeming fiction, that is, it will be assumed. So all the societies were conveyanced, that means regular conveyance which should be through the cooperation of your developer and the landowner. If that has not happened, then it will be deemed that all the societies have got the deemed conveyance, but This is just a provision. So to prove your ownership, or to prove the legal authenticity of your ownership, we should have your name recorded in the revenue records. So that is why when I say it's conveyance or deemed conveyance, the process would be same, except that in deemed conveyance under MOFA there is a competent authority which is being designated, which is a district deputy registrar. That is, your DDR is your competent authority. So when the owners and developers are not cooperating, you can route your deemed conveyance application through your DDR, who will be passing order, conveyance order in the name of the society, and then there would be drafting of the conveyance deed, adjudication of the conveyance deed, and then the name, change of name in the PR card. This is the process in nutshell of the deemed conveyance process. So you should go for the deemed conveyance because MOFA very well, because this is easy and practicable solution which is given in MOFA. Thirdly, whatever additional benefits are there, like additional FSI or something which will be there or available on this land, if the name of the housing society is not there in the revenue records, that will go to the landlord and the builders. So this is another thing which the housing society should take care of it. So to avail the additional benefit, we should be having conveyance in our name. Suppose if I have to go for the redevelopment, so unless and until my name is there in the revenue records, I am not the owner, you cannot go for the redevelopment. So if those societies who are thinking for going for the redevelopment, they should ensure that their conveyance is in place, very much in place, either a conveyance or a deemed conveyance. Another thing why I should be going for a deemed conveyance, or why I should be thinking deemed conveyance as on serious notice, if something goes wrong with my building or my structure, let's say there is the structure itself has collapsed or it's going to collapse. So if your name is not there in the revenue records, your landlord may charge you, or your landowner may ask a hefty sum from you to reconstruct your building. And that is why even for this purpose you should go for the conveyance or the deemed conveyance. So in nutshell what we can say is, conveyance or deemed conveyance will give me the ownership of my land and building, and then as a owner I can do whatever I want to do with that structure or with that land. If you are going for a self redevelopment also, suppose if you are going for a loan, if you are thinking to go for a loan from which is being given by Mumbai District Cooperative Bank, then definitely first thing is whether conveyance is being done or not. So if you are thinking for redevelopment, your conveyance has to happen first. So these are 4-5 pointers. I think we all the committee members, they should be taking it on a serious note, that since it's there in the object clause, since it's a easy and practical solution in the MOFA which is given, to have to enjoy the additional benefits which your land has got the potential of, to safeguard your society or members from putting more money in case your building collapses, or suppose if you are going for a redevelopment, this conveyance has to happen. And that is why I thought I will just take 5 minutes of yours and I will just guide you on this. So please do take care of this conveyance or deemed conveyance procedure provisions. Do take this agenda, do discuss it with your committee member, your general body in detail, and do take a concrete step and call on this, and don't let it go for the next AGM. Thank you.